the Owlbear mother did practically nothing the entire fight. Alright, so we've recently found Edwin, and we've also picked up the shaft of the broken spear. Now the other half of this shaft is found in the Owlbear cave, and today's easy honor is taking on the Owlbear mother. Now, in honor mode, the Owlbear mother has a legendary reaction called consort, which brings a mate, brings her spouse to the fight. And you're taking on two owlbears, and in honor mode, each of these owlbears have over 100 hit points. So it's quite the ordeal if you aren't prepared. We're just at level 4 here, so hopefully it won't be too difficult. I'd rather be level 5 before really taking on the owlbear, but I have a really cool technique. We just tried it out on Polma, which is Priestess Guts guard in her room. She's an ogre, and it worked extremely well. So we're going to try this on the Owlbear mother. Now, when you're dealing with creatures that are just pure strength and muscle, like an ogre or an owlbear, it can be a bit challenging to render them ineffective, because creatures that are big and tough, they have high strength scores, high constitution saves, so it can be tough to just knock them out. And we really do want to render them completely useless. So when we're dealing with the call consort, like the most obvious answer would be silence, right? Because if she's silent, if we silence her, she can't call her consort. But the owlbear has a huge ability to jump. They can jump really far. They have good movement speed. She might be able to get outside of the silent circle, and I don't really want to risk honor mode on something that isn't less than like 85% certain. So while silence would be a great option, it doesn't really solve my problem. So because the legendary reaction is a reaction, there's also the option to cancel her reactions. Something like Shocking Grasp would prevent her from taking any reactions. It requires a 2-hit, and Gale is rather mushy at this point in the game, so I'm not going to risk Gale's Shocking Grasp, because if he doesn't get rid of her reactions, he can't move away. She's going to start swiping at him. And the owlbears are a very powerful creature. Many druid single playthroughs where you don't have any companions rely on a druid with an owlbear shape, because they're capable of jumping, knocking people prone, swiping, knocking people prone, and then they just rip you apart while you're lying there prone. So what we really want to do is not just silence the owlbear mother, but we want to make sure she can't move out of the area. So we're looking at restricting movement, and that means knocking the owlbear mother prone. Now, there are a number of ways to knock people prone in the game, or creatures prone in the game. One basic option is topple, and usually when you knock creatures prone, it lasts for 1 turn. So it's only 1 round. You try to get in what you can. The creature cannot do anything while they're prone. They can't take reactions, actions, or bonus actions, which means she won't be calling out for her mate. But if she stands back up before we get a chance to knock her down again, we have another problem. So our goal is to not just knock her prone, but make sure she stays down. Now, the trick to keeping a creature prone is to reduce their movement speed less than half. So if they have less than half their movement speed, they'll be disabled for the entire fight. And most spells will just reduce their movement, most conditions, will just remove their movement by 50%, which isn't good enough. We need to reduce it by 3/4 or make it 0. So there is a spell that druids have, plant growth, that reduces movement speed by 3/4. That would work, but we're not leveled high enough to have that spell yet. So that leaves us with 3 choices to reduce movement speed to 0. One is fear, and that's probably going to be the least desirable option for me. We actually have Dissonant Whispers with our bard, which will frighten a creature. Whenever you frighten a creature, their movement speed becomes 0. They have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls. Now, keep in mind that with fear, frightening a creature, fear, it's a decent condition. It's not the worst condition, but it's not a great condition either. Any condition is better than no condition, right? But charmed just means they won't attack you, but they can still attack your allies. That's probably the worst condition. Poisoned, I really don't like poison much either. When you poison someone, they have disadvantage on their attacks, on their attack rolls, which means you're less likely to get hurt. But it doesn't stop them from fighting. It doesn't stop them from doing things, and it's not a great condition. It's a decent. It's better than nothing, like I said. But after charmed and poisoned, you have polymorph, which turns a creature into a harmless sheep for 5 rounds. That takes 1 creature out of the battle. It's also not a horrible condition, but you're basically maintaining concentration to make sure that one person's not in the fight for a few rounds, and when they do come back, they have all their original hit points. So that's not. There's so many ways, like like darkness that just renders people far more ineffective, or hold person is one of my favorites. When you level this up, you can completely immobilize a whole bunch of people all at the same time. So rendering one person ineffective in a fight is generally not the best way to go. Beyond that, you have frightened, which is what we're considering now, right? So it reduces movement speed to 0, and they have disadvantage on all attack rolls, so they're less likely to hurt you, and ability checks. Now, ability checks are not save throws, right? Ability checks are basically useless for NPCs. You don't care if they have a disadvantage on ability checks. It's not a save throw. Just like Hex. Hex is not really useful for causing disadvantage on ability checks. Hex is useful for the extra damage it does on a Warlock. So Frightened is an option. It requires a Wisdom save every time, and the Owlbear Mother actually has a +1 to Wisdom save throws, and our DC for these kinds of things is probably 13 at this point in the game, so it's just a little less than 50% that they'll save. Again, not quite what I'm going for. So what I'd rather have is a certainty, right? That we're going to be able to make sure they don't move, that they're incapacitated for the entire battle. So that leaves us with 2 options other than plant growth and cause fear. And the most viable one is really maiming or ensnaring. So we have Astarion, who's acting as our ranger, and he actually has ensnaring strike. Now, the problem with ensnaring strike usually is that it requires a save throw, and an owlbear is very strong. Their save throws would be pretty high. Because we've gone with a bounty hunter ranger, their ensnaring strike forces disadvantage on the initial strength save. So this is a viable option here, and the other option is to simply maim them. There's only 2 types of weapons in the game that can maim. The first is war picks, and here we have a non-magical war pick, so not the best weapon at all, but it has what we call the maiming strike, which looks like this with the weapon at the legs here. And if you maim a target, they cannot move for 2 turns, 0 movement. So if we roll higher than their AC, we're going to hit them and then have a chance to maim them if they fail their con save. Right, so the Owlbear's AC is 13, and if she does her special ability to become super strong, she increases her strength by 3, but her AC goes down by 1. That means we only have to beat a 12. So beating a 12 is, or even a 13, is pretty desirable. This is probably going to be our first choice in order to maim the target. We also have a secondary type of weapon called a battle axe, which also does maiming strike. So the battle axe and the war pick are what give us maiming strike. And so we've got those equipped on our 2 fighters. Now we also have Lae'zel. We've set up Lae'zel as a monk, and she has a special ability called Flurry of Blows, and she can topple, which would knock them prone for 1 turn, but there are special ways to knock people prone for more than 1 turn instantly. And one of those few options is on a Wild Heart Barbarian. And if you take the Eagle Heart and Rage, you then have the Diving Strike, which knocks characters prone for 2 rounds, 2 turns. And you don't take any falling damage, you have to be above your target and be raged already, so there is a little bit of a setup involved there. But she jumps down, knocks them prone, and that's exactly what we did to Polma, Priestess Guts guard in her room, is we knocked her prone, and then we maimed her, she couldn't get back up, and then we just struck her and struck her and struck her until she was done. So that's what we're going to do with the Owlbear Mother, and if our maiming strike fails, we are then going to try to ensnare. Now, ensnare again is a strength saving throw. Now, to maim someone, we need to deal with the con saving throw, and as a beast taming ranger, Astarion actually has a find familiar option here that allows us to summon a rat. And a rat can do an infectious bite, which gives them disadvantage on constitution saving throws. Now, we might be tempted to summon the raven as it can cause blindness, which is a great condition, but she can still summon her mate, so we're going to stick with the rat. What we've done is we have several options here. We're going to knock prone, either with our Eagle Raging Barbarian. We can knock prone with our Flurry of Blows Monk. And then we are going to try to strike at her with maiming strikes or ensnaring the target, and we have the rat, which can do an infectious bite, which gives them disadvantage on constitution saves. It's one of the very few ways to cause disadvantage on constitution saving throws. So we'll bring the rat in for this go round.
Owlbear tracks. Its nest must be nearby. I should speak up. protect us.
Now, it really is important if you have the two followers of the Absolute, do not talk to them inside the cave, or they will attack immediately, and you will lose the chance to talk to the owlbear, get some approval from Karlach, and miss your opportunity to set up for the fight. Okay, now we have Speak with Animals turned on, so let's try to talk to the owlbear mother.
You feel the quake of its heavy footsteps before you see it. An owlbear, its beaked face looming out of the darkness.
What's this? Something weak, something tender. Won't even have to chew you before I feed you to my son. Soft meat. It's a splinter. I've gutted bigger threats than you with worse. You're small, weak. Killing you would be a waste of time. You can go, but you make one wrong step and I'll rip you to shreds.
Okay.
Don't be shy.
Now,
Damn, it's good to
Karlach
be
needs to
alive.
get up high. And we're probably going to use...
This breeds madness.
We're going to grant her the defensive psionic jump to make her super impressive. We're going to need to enter turn-based mode now that we've done that. Because it only lasts for 10
What's the
turns.
story?
So let's see how high we can jump here. Oh, not enough movement speed. If she dashes, then jump. Alright.
Still alive, so that's progress.
Blackets will be done.
Let's move Lazelle up. Okay. So not only does she have an option to knock a creature prone, she also has an option to stagger a target, making it unable to take reactions. So that's kind of our backup, especially if she moves outside of our silence zone, if we go that route. Because if she can't take reactions, she can't call her consort.
I've got a long road ahead. What path lies before me?
And you would be better up high. So we want you to be, well, shooting as well as a backup maimer. Okay, let's go with that.
Blackets will be done.
And the rat.
Looking ahead.
Nothing super useful there. More heavy stones.
What a charmer.
Okay,
Where to?
here we go. Available only in combat.
Well, hello.
Alright, let's try to ensnare the owlbear to start. Range 85%. Okay, she's not going first, so that's decent.
Some blood.
So we're going to enter rage. Rage is a bonus action, so now we're going to take our diving strike. We probably should have cast haste on these people, but whatever.
Again.
Oh, we missed. I've never seen that happen before. Okay. Flurry of blows topple.
It's your end.
Proned. Great.
Put him off.
Let's see if we
Those guns
can
easy these
cast
days.
this potion of speed here. Let's see if we can have them stand a little closer
Swift and
together.
lethal.
Alright,
No choice but to keep
try to
going.
hit both of them with this. Make sure we don't actually give the owlbear a potion. Alright, so now we should have an extra strike. We're going to try to maim the owlbear. Saved. Not great. Not great at all. The owlbear will only be prone for one turn. We were supposed to use the rat first to create disadvantage on the con save for the maiming strikes. So, she'll be prone. We might have to knock her prone again.
another round.
Let's see if she can't jump or
I
anything.
can't even catch my breath.
Okay. Enough resources.
This isn't fun.
Let's try to give him height advantage if he can get it. Okay.
I will ascend.
Now, she has some extra options here. Might as well try to strike. Wow, we already took down half her health. This is great. Well, she's raging, which is better than having her call her consort. Okay. Let's see. Owlbear rage.
My word.
Alright, can we jump up and jump back down? Let's go ahead and cause an opportunity attack. Alright, let's see if we can get to do the infectious bite. Alright, so now we can see that the owlbear is infected, so they have a disadvantage on constitution saving throws, and constitution is reduced by 1. So, this should give us some help. Let's try to knock her prone once more.
I am death.
Alright, she's prone. Is she ensnared? She is ensnared. This means she shouldn't be able to get back up. So here we can see they cannot move. They'll take 1 to 6 piercing damage per turn. Attack rolls against the creature have advantage, which makes us more likely to get a critical hit. And let's see if we can take her out really quickly here.
Swift and lethal.
Not doing very well with this staff.
I'm ready.
Let's maybe attack range. Now, we don't want to use Hunter's Mark because that will break our ensnaring strike.
Well, so much for peace.
Alright, and Dissonant Whisper should do a decent amount of damage. Yeah, see, silence doesn't cover a large enough area that it would stop her from being able to escape the silence area and call her mate. So, by knocking her prone and ensnaring her, we've effectively trapped her for the rest of the battle. She won't be getting back up. 49. And we are not hitting very hard, that's for sure. Oh, I have an idea though. Can we push this cub out of the way? Let's see.
I've got this.
Alright, but now we can't jump.
Try something else.
Knees high.
I won't give in. Need to find a way forward.
Victory awaits.
do not want to kill the owlbear cub.
Hop, hop. Moving.
Here we go. Path is interrupted. Alright, prone and ensnared. We should have her down permanently now. Hopefully. Let's try a Maiming strike just to be on the safe side. We may have lost that ability at this point. Yeah, we can only do one Maiming strike per short rest.
Let's spill some blood.
So let's have him get down here. These people are in the way, just like we thought they might be. So they have cast the halt command several times, which may have helped. Let's maim this creature. I don't have an action anymore because I dashed. Great. Okay, let's try causing
Sometimes the only way
fear.
out is through.
Frightened. And
Let's have some courage.
Let's go.
Cub looks from you to his dead mother.
Wake. Hungry.
A single strike will end his suffering.
Hungry. Food.
You watch, speechless, as the cub begins to eat his mother.
Cub has a fighting chance now.
Or we've just prolonged its misery.
Mercy. Of course.
Then we have the head of the broken spear. Take that. And we should be able to now combine the shaft with the head. Surgical latest. There we go. We now have Vision of the Absolute, which must have been what Edwin was using. Blinds the target that fails a dex saving throw, deals an additional 2 to 12 piercing damage to certain creatures that sport multiple sets of eyes. So its main ability is it can blind a target, does extra damage if creatures sport multiple sets of eyes, which is very few creatures, but beneficial in a specific fight we're headed to down the Underdark later on. But blind is an incredible condition. Disadvantage on attack rolls. When they come at you, range of attack and spells reduced to 3 meters, so they have to be right next to you in order to try to swipe at you. And attacks against blind creatures have advantage, so we're more likely to get a crit. Alright. So we did manage to take out the Owlbear, which is considered a boss. And we only received 15 points of damage to Lae'zel, mostly from the Owlbear cub. The Owlbear mother did practically nothing the entire fight because we were knocking her prone. Unfortunately, we didn't really get to see her stay down the whole fight like we were anticipating. We really needed to knock her prone before ensnaring her. If we knocked her prone and then ensnared her, she would have stayed down the whole fight, but we ensnared her first, so the conditions were kind of flipped. That's too bad. We'll do another example with a big strong boss down the road, but hopefully you've been able to see the advantage of knocking creatures prone, how they're not able to do much. She stood back up and wasn't able to make any attacks or anything. She didn't swipe at us really the whole game, the whole battle there. If you found this video helpful, please like and share and subscribe below for more Easy Honor videos.